Where in the world are Angel and Anita? They could be anywhere, helping animals in the wild, with hearts ready to share.
Hey everybody. So we are still in Thailand, and in this episode we want to talk to you about Bangkok. We're in the Kauai River
Next to the Kwai River, yeah.
at a
Lost
resort.
Hotel, which is like an agricultural environmental resort.
And we'll talk about this place in the next episode. We found some really cute
Really exciting. Yeah.
stray dogs. So you'll want to
Not
watch
just that,
the
we went to this really cool cave.
Yeah, and we explored a cave by ourselves and we didn't get lost.
It was huge. We
So
thought it was this
that
really
we'll talk
hole
about
in the
that in the
wall, but
next
no.
episode. But in this one, we want to talk about Bangkok. We spent a few days there, and yeah, so we started off. Anita, you want to tell them we started off looking at the reclining Buddha. What's so special about that Buddha?
Well, it's the largest reclining Buddha in the world, and this is a Buddhist country, so they really value that. It is what would you say, about 300 feet long, gold plated. It's not pure
It's very
gold.
long.
Beautiful encasing that it's in, all hand painted with little flowers and in scenes from the Buddha's life. Very crowded, very busy, very warm around this time of the year in Thailand right now, but interesting. Would I recommend going there? If you visit Bangkok, I would say yes. It definitely is some of the landmarks. It's been around for a couple of 100 years, since the mid 1800s. But honestly, would I not go to Bangkok? It really just depends. There's a lot of like shopping if you like massive Chinese style flea markets with everything you can think of. Busy streets, a lot of like wires hanging, very South Asian thing, wires hanging from the telephone poles, electric poles, a lot of little motorcycles, crowded, not as bad as some of the other Asian countries.
Yeah, we have to say,
Honestly,
comparing
not my
it to
favorite,
Indonesia, the traffic is not
but
nearly as bad. But the city is probably dirtier and not as nice as Jakarta, at least the
yeah,
parts that we've seen.
it's like dirty. It's clean. It's not trash on the roads or anything like that, but it's poorer, you know,
Just
it's kind of
the
run down.
houses are
Yeah.
more run down and stuff.
Um,
Yeah.
And I would really say, I would really give myself a day in Bangkok. This one night in Bangkok party city, I think it's probably still somewhere, but it definitely changed in the last 20 years. Very westernized now. So yeah, if you want to go see the temples, I guess that's what Bangkok and the palaces is famous for.
Yeah, so we went to the palace. So we toured the palace and they have their own temple in the palace with the Emerald Buddha,
Yeah,
which we
I
saw.
mean, go see the Emerald Buddha. You really have to look very closely to see it, because this is massive golden structure with like this tiny little green guy on top, and it's winter supposedly now, so he has his little golden robe. He wears a different robe different times of the year.
Well, he wears the same robe, but if it's summer, it's off of both shoulders. If it's like, I don't know, rainy season, it's off of one, and if it's winter, it's on both.
And summer is off both. He shows
Yeah,
his shoulders.
yeah.
I don't know, something
But,
like that. But
one thing that I noticed that I did want to say about going to these temples, I was really expecting it to be a lot more kind of spiritual with the Buddhists. To me, Buddhism is more about detaching from material things. And I noticed that a lot of these temples, it's all about like big, massive
amounts of
chunks of gold and
yeah.
things of that nature. And I also noticed with the people here in Thailand, who they're super nice, super sweet people, but they seem very disconnected from their religion. And the majority of them
Well,
say that they're Buddhist.
Buddhism was never meant to be a religion. It is a philosophy. It is a way of living, and be kind to animals, be kind to other, respectful life, detached from materialism. And unfortunately, it is exactly the opposite. There are poor people that only makes about $10 a day.
10
all over
US
the
dollars.
city.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 US dollars. While these Buddhas are covered in gold, people go to the flower markets spending so much money to bring them flowers and put them on these golden pedestals, where my perception of the Buddha is almost like the Jesus character. It's just, why are you giving me all this gold stuff? Give it to the poor.
Yeah, I think there's a big
orphans, give it to
disconnect about what Buddha would want
the
them to do.
disabled.
Buddha doesn't
just
want them to spend money on stuff to worship him or give, sacrifices, or whatever you want to call it, to him. I think he would more want them to, like she said, be kind to others. The other big thing that we were actually really looking forward to coming to Thailand, because when she came 20 years ago,
Yeah, it has
the majority
changed.
of them were
Definitely
vegetarian,
changed.
and we were really looking forward to getting some really good vegetarian Thai food, which we love Thai food. And unfortunately, we found that it's very meat heavy here now.
Very, very meat heavy.
Vegetarians
And
are the minority. Even the monks eat meat, because even though they're not allowed to kill them, if the people bring them food, they will eat whatever they bring them, and oftentimes it's meat stuff. So we were actually talking last night, and we were saying it doesn't really make sense, because if Buddha says that you shouldn't kill any
yeah,
beings,
it's like you hire a
everything's
hitman
life
to do it, to kill someone
everything's
for
life
you.
has meaning, and you shouldn't kill him. So yeah, like she said, we were saying that last night. So it's kind of the same thing, because they say, well, if somebody else killed the animal, then I can eat it without the bad like karma or bad energy. But that's not true. I mean,
You are still
if
the
I
reason
if I
why,
wanted Anita to be dead,
and you
and I
find
was
someone
like,
down the road.
I'm not going to kill her myself, because it's a sin to kill, but I'm going to hire Joe over there to,
Why?
Joe the hitman, and he kills Anita. Is that like no bad karma on my part? I don't think so. It's still
Well,
me.
first of all, now you put bad karma on poor Joe because he had to kill you.
Well,
Like
and
you put him in the
I'm the one that
temptation by paying him.
initiated the murder.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the animals. If you consume them, I mean, you're I don't know. It's just the way that we look at it. I mean, we obviously
No, I
we
just
don't eat
believe
them,
that
but
we live in a time where we need to speak truth. You know, we need to speak our truth. We can't keep on sugarcoating things. We can't keep on looking the other way. You either in or you out. If you want good karma and you believe that it should come your way, you need to do the right thing. You need to live a loving way where you don't harm anything, where your contribution being here on earth is by being a beacon of light, uh, helping, healing, not want to go and sit there and bring your hard-earned little bit of money
well,
to give
and
flowers that's going to rot to
but
this fake figure that's all about
the
wealth and gold and no, you should do the other thing. You should not
no,
eat the
no,
meat.
definitely.
You should take the narrow
The
path,
other
you know?
part of it is that, and you look this up, when she came to Thailand 20 years ago, the Thai people were very small, very
Very,
healthy,
yeah, very
very,
vegan and like
and
very petite
they're not
now.
that way anymore. And I mean, I apologize if any Thai people are watching this, but a lot of them are obese. We saw a lot of Thai people with a lot of facial acne. They're not that
To
healthy.
them,
But we
it's a
looked,
sign of strength. Oh, we want to be big and strong like the Europeans and Americans, but now they all have diabetes and
but we
heart
looked it up,
disease
and
and
yeah, those, like, they had the same Western, the same diseases that a lot of people in the West had.
the Danish
And
milk and dairy cows. So now where it was all coconut
but
milk
high
in the past, now it's
cholesterol,
all
heart
cheese and
disease,
meat that
diabetes. Even
meat swell, but
our tour guide was saying her
milk
her
is
mother
meaning
has
that
type 2 diabetes,
it
and
was unheard of in Thailand 20 years ago.
so they're
And
not really
it's
doing
very
themselves any favors trying to be more like us, the Westerns. But anyways, so that's just a thought that we had about the Thai people and watching them in the temples
just the
and
daily,
whatnot.
yeah, the daily.
But anyways,
Everywhere we go for breakfast, it's exactly the same food. Mostly bread, pastries, sugars, eggs and bacon. And then just where 25 years ago, the first time I came here, it was 90% vegetables, fruits, like their local noodles, their cooked vegetables. Now it's the other way around. That's a small portion. And the rest is all the typical best Western buffet, like, with your little pancakes with syrup and your
and fast
pastries
food
and your
everywhere.
eggs and
They
your
have
bacon and your
Domino's here. They have KFCs on every
KFC.
corner. I mean, it's it's
And it's gonna sad because there's so much bad energy. These fast food restaurants, the animals being treated so badly, and it's factory farms, and there's no what happened to karma? I mean, I don't know, but
yeah.
other than that,
But anyways,
not a favorite.
so we got on this little boat to take us to dinner, and on the way we stopped and they said we could feed these fish. So Anita's like hanging over the edge feeding these fish, and the other people on the boat, they're getting all nervous and they're like looking at me like I should stop her. And I was like, oh, don't worry, if she falls over she can swim.
I'm very good at swimming. I'm from Africa. We swim with
But they thought it was pretty strange that she was
straight.
that she was hanging over the edge. But anyways, so we took it down the river, and we went and had dinner on this place on the water, which was nice. It had pretty views, but we did find a little bird in a very, very small cage that it could not even like.
Show the bird in the cage.
We didn't take a picture of the. We did not take a picture of the bird in the cage, but we did.
I think I did.
I didn't, but I wrote a review, and hopefully they'll give the bird a better cage. But
Now I have to go for all my pictures. I think I might.
But anyways, we did see a very, very beautiful
This
sunset
might-
though
oh,
on the. Then after dinner, we got to take a tuk-tuk back. So those who don't know what a tuk-tuk is, it's a little motorcycle attached to this little kind of taxi thing. And we took it through Chinatown, which is pretty cool. If anybody's watched The Hangover 2, you know all about Chinatown. And we got to see some really cool lit up lights at night in Bangkok. Anyways,
Not a fan of Bangkok, but
but
now
to
we
move
are
on,
out in
we
the
went next
forest.
to the floating. No, the forest is the next episode.
No, we are
But
in the
next,
forest.
yeah,
Oh.
we're in the forest now, but we're
Yeah,
not going
forgot
to
that.
talk about it
Okay,
yet.
yeah.
But we went next to the floating markets, which was actually pretty cool. We got on these long boats,
Yeah,
they
that
call
was
them,
cool.
and we
Well,
had
it's
to.
kind of out of Bangkok. It's about an hour's drive outside of Bangkok.
They call them the
but
Bangkok floating markets, but yeah,
Yeah.
it is outside of Bangkok. But we got on these longboats and we had to go through these canals, which was really cool. And it was like, a boat ride to get to the floating markets. And then you get there and it's pretty neat. Tell them, Anita. Like it's just a whole bunch of different things for sale. And
like even narrower than the canals in Venice, like maybe as wide as a king size bed. So you speed down these canals, you see people growing their banana trees, what was it, mangoes, papayas, avocados, and they live right on the water. Very beautiful. You see their little houses. A lot of them have very beautiful gardens, being in the tropics. Flowers grow abundantly here. And then suddenly it's like, welcome to the floating market. So these markets are, you basically go through it with on your boat on these canals. You get off. Very interesting. Like little old ladies are sitting in their little long boats on the side, right up to the edge, cooking food, preparing their meals for the day. And a lot of it still, I think, is very traditional Thai. A lot of it is just, I'm not even sure if all this merchandise was made in Thailand. Maybe a lot of clothing, a lot of the same things, but definitely very interesting experience to show up at this little market on your little boat. And
but the coolest part, so we get off of our boat and we're waiting for the other people in our group to arrive. And I see this little
Excuse me.
creature in this guy's hand. And I'm like,
Wow.
Anita, is that real? It looks like a little stuffed animal. I'm like, what is that most amazingly cute little creature I've ever seen? And he's holding it and he's like, yeah, you can hold it and take a picture with it. I didn't know what it
Well,
was. It kind of
she
looks like
held it.
I have a sugar glider, right?
Really
Named
big
Ivy.
eyes.
Kind of looks like my sugar glider, but it's like bigger, different than the sugar glider. It doesn't really have a tail. So I didn't really know what it was, but it was like the cutest freaking thing ever. And I'm
So I
like,
told her it's in I'm from South Africa and we have them there too. We call them nagappies, which means little night monkeys.
bush babies.
Bush babies, that's kind of like the slang word. They also go by galagals
Well, it turns
and
out here
lories.
in
So,
Thailand, they're called lories.
but they are night
The interesting thing about a lorry, which I had
animals.
no idea, is that they're the only venomous mammal in the world. And they eject the venom from their teeth. So if they bite you,
So
they
it's
can
nibbling
inject
on her finger.
the
She
venom
kept
into you.
on
So the guy
shoving her
hands me
finger.
the lorry, and I'm like, this is the cutest thing ever. And it starts nibbling on my finger. And I'm like, oh, that's so cute. It's chewing my finger. And the guy's like, no, 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 don't. Like, and I'm like, it's okay. It can chew my
Okay,
finger. I
but
don't care.
now we have to address the really tricky part of this conversation is it is animal exploitation. This animal is awake during the day, it's nocturnal, it's stressed out, it is in captivity, which I've traveled all over the world and I've ridden camels and held snakes and pythons and whatever. But then to me, the question is, yes, you can stop it by just ignoring it and not giving this guy any money, ignoring the animal. But then what is going to happen to this animal? Because it is domesticated. You can't put it back in nature. It is used to being with a human.
And
If the
oftentimes the
human
lorries,
is
they
not
extract their venomous teeth so that they can inject.
bringing in income for the owner, will he be able to feed it? Will he be able to keep it? I personally, maybe you guys can give us some ideas, but I do not know how to put an end on this kind of animal exploitation, because yes, somehow it was, I don't know, rescued or found or bought as a very young animal because it's completely domesticated. It is this guy's pet. It sees it as his daddy, he's part of the family. You cannot take it and return it to the wild. That'll be a death sentence. But do you want to keep on paying? Because that was quite a bit of money just to hold it, and all the tourists are like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. So what do you do? How do you put an end of that? I guess what you really have to do is lobby for stricter government regulation where they do not allow them to do that, to bring these animals and show them to tourists and make money of them. I think that's really the only way. Because they say, okay, don't give him money and don't. It's like you can't do that because now he can't feed the animal
Yeah, and
because
then
you're
he has
not
no
giving him
reason to
money.
keep
He's
it.
got no
and
reason to keep it. So I don't even know how close of an actual pet it is, what kind of connection he has. There was a guy with a big white python doing the same thing. There was a lady with a
And
sugar
our
glider.
well, no, we're going to talk about that later. But the
Okay.
tour guide was telling us with the python people that it's actually a lot of the farmers here, they hunt and kill the pythons and they'll eat them. But sometimes they decide to save them and keep them as pets, and then they make money keeping them by the tourists taking
There's a
pictures with them.
and there's a,
So
I mean,
otherwise, that python would be dead.
I
Like
love
it would kill the
PETA, I
python.
love vegans. I am a PETA member. I am a vegan 90% of the time, but before they start having opinions and start attacking people, you need to actually travel. You need to understand the economics
I think it's
in
good to
third
fight
world
for the rights
countries.
of animals, but
You
I think
also
a lot
need to
of PETA
understand
people
that
go
if
way
these
overboard.
animals don't have a purpose, they maybe not have a life or a chance. So yeah, we really need to think about it. But we gave him a couple, made like $3 or something, and got to hold this little animal, take pictures with it. But then also we went home, we read up about it. Now we know about its existence, we know about the preservation. I didn't even know that. Well, I've heard of it, but I've never actually seen one other than in magazines or books in South Africa. But now we can maybe have more awareness, like what is happening to their landscape. I mean, like with the orangutans, all this like palm oil, they're destroying the palm trees in countries like Madagascar and places like that,
Indonesia.
Indonesia. But if I've never seen an orangutan, and if I didn't go to a zoo or had any opportunity to interact, it's just like it's this animal that doesn't really exist in my world. But once you actually see them and you're like, oh my God, this is an amazing animal, I want to save it, I want it to have a good life. Now I'll start, I will avoid palm oil and palm sugars, and I will donate money to organizations that are trying to make their lives better. So it's very difficult. It's the same issue with zoos. Don't have any zoos. But if you take a child to a zoo and it interacts with that animal and it looks in its eyes and it's like, yeah, you're real, you're beautiful. I feel a connection with you. Where do you come
They have
from?
more
What's happening?
compassion.
They have more compassion. And I'm sorry, but this thing about don't see them, don't touch them, how can you even know they exist? How can you relate to them? And oftentimes the ones in the zoos way outlive the ones in the wild and have much easier, better lives. No, I'm not a fan of zoos, but I think
Depends on the
that
type of zoo. There's some zoos that do it much
definitely
better than others.
people need to connect with animals. And now we are aware of this little animal and we're reading up about it, and maybe we can help conserve its natural habitat. I don't know, but anyway,
Okay, so then
very cute.
yeah, very, very good subject. To move on, so we're walking through this floating market and there's lots of stuff to buy. And we're like, we were supposed to have lunch there. So we're like, okay, she saw some like fried bananas and she's like, let's get some fried bananas. I'm like, all right, I'll get you some fried bananas. And I'm going to pay for the fried bananas. And the woman, like, there's like a little cloth to the side of the register.
Basket, about this
There's like a
big.
little basket.
Basket.
And she lifts up this cloth.
Oh my God.
And
This
oh my God,
Java the
this-
Hutt, but the
this
sugar
little
glider version.
creature is in there. And I'm like, what the hell is that? We have a sugar glider at home, and it's not really our pet. It's part of the animal sanctuary. Somebody surrendered it. Her name's Ivy. She lives in my office. She basically does what she wants. I don't even keep her in a cage.
We
She
hardly ever
sleeps in
see
a
it.
little pouch, and then at night she runs around my office. She swings on my diplomas. She's like climbing up the book. She does
We
whatever
just see
she
the
wants.
next day everything's screwed
Um,
open.
And when I talk to Ivy and I go, like, if I go in there in the morning, I'm like, Ivy, how you doing? Because she's in her little pouch.
Yes.
If she is sleeping, she will start screaming at me. And
She's
she's
like
like,
me. Don't wake me up.
sleeping. So like this little thing is like sleeping, and it's not a little thing. It's like the fattest freaking sugar glider I've ever
Oh,
seen.
I mean, it
It's
doesn't even
under
look like a
this
sugar.
closet, and it's holding a big piece of corn, and it's literally just laying under this closet, eating this piece of corn. And I'm
In the
just like,
daytime, it really should be sleeping.
so I mean, I don't know. It's like it draws people's attention. It's cute. But again, I mean, I guess it's sad, but as Anita said, at least it's not starving. I don't know. But and
I think it's
sugar
not.
gliders are not native to Thailand. They actually come from Australia.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But what do you do then? I mean, we didn't pay, but she so overcharged us for the
She
fried
wanted,
banana,
she
so it
asked
was
if
kind
we
of like
wanted,
we did.
she asked if we wanted to take a picture, and I'm like, no, no, no. I was like, just let her sleep. And I told her we had one at home, but I don't think she understood us. But
Yeah,
I
so
don't know.
you just don't
Maybe I should put Ivy in a basket and start.
just hold her close to you. But the thing is, animals and people have been on this planet for so long, and unfortunately, people are gaining ground and a natural environment for animals going away. So I would just say awareness. She's not abusing it. If anything, she's killing it with kindness because she's feeding that poor little thing to the point where it looks like Java the Hutt that's just lying on its back in this little basket. But I feel as long as people are interacting with the animals and as long as people see them, there's this awareness. We have young girls coming to the sanctuary saying, "Oh, I want to volunteer." They can't even go into like the enclosure with the goats or the sheep because like, oh my god, I'm so scared. What is this thing? Why is it sniffing me? Complete disconnection. If they can hold a lamb and look in its little eyes and kiss its little nose and see how beautiful these sheep really are,
They'll
the
think
personalities,
twice when
they'll
they
think
eat lamb
twice when
chops
Easter
then.
comes around.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, now we're just gonna have our lamb chop or our little, pig, whatever, piece of pig or chicken if they can hold a little rooster. It is so important that people do interact with animals. So don't come and tell me, oh, you should just like leave them alone, not have anything to do with them. In an ideal world, we do not live in an ideal world. Like I rode on a camel once in Palestine, and this camel was so in love with his owner, he would put his head up against him. Now, this is where they eat camels. If they have no use for them, they go to the slaughterhouse. But this guy would ask $10 to walk you, get on a camel, walk about, I mean, maybe 200 yards. And then that's it. But you know what? He takes that money, he feeds that camel, he cares for it. The whole animal community were like screaming at me, "How can you get on a camel?" And I said, well, travel there. Go find out what it's really about. See what these animals' choices are. You either have somebody that loves you, cares for you, or you end up at the slaughterhouse. Then don't act like the other option is for them to just roam free around the oasis in the deserts, but that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist anymore. So I don't know, but we just need to create awareness of caring for animals, loving for animals, be aware of different species that you might not even have ever seen before, and then go home and find out how can you help? How can you preserve their natural habitat? How can you help the people that are often so poor that exploiting animals are their only freaking choice to make a buck? There are people in this country that makes $10, and this is in the city. Here in the country, if they make $2 or $3 a day, that's a lot of money for them. So when it gets to that point where you basically live to survive, animal welfare is not very high on your agenda. But this is where we can help from the West, is by trying to improve these people's lives. And I know we now live in a society where it's just boycott everybody, all make stuff in America. We can't manufacture things in America affordably. So let's do some more Thai imports. Let's support these people from the country. Let's buy their baskets and their little wooden carvings, and let's try and help them, they're very, very nice, sweet people, and they do care. But unfortunately, economically, it's just not always there. And that's my 2 cents. Let's do import from the poor countries.
Yeah.
And let's help. Let's try and contribute. And let's take our children to nice, humane zoos and teach them about animals. Take them to the aquarium. Let them touch the stingray. Let them feel what it is like. Let them hold the anaconda or
Hopefully not an anaconda.
whatever they have there.
Maybe a ball python.
Python. Let them touch the bat. Let them familiarize themselves with animals. Let them connect. And I know captivity is not ideal, but oftentimes, like these fox bats that we saw, fox-faced
The
bat.
flying foxes.
Yeah, they at Disney, they have a whole program where they are breeding them, rehabilitating them, and care for them. But yes, they're in captivity, but they're alive and they're happy. If you go to Tanzania and in the Zanzibar, these places
Zanzibar,
where
yeah.
actually people
They
kill
eat them.
in net, catch them
They
in
eat
nets,
them.
and deep
We
fucking
went
fry
to
them
a
alive and kill
sanctuary
them.
there
They have no respect for them.
in Zanzibar,
It's awful.
and we thought
There's no care for them.
we thought it would be a place where they were like rehabilitating them and stuff. It literally was just like a little fenced in tree. It was a tree that they live in that they put a chain link fence around it that people had already cut through the
Oh my
fence
God.
so they could go and eat the bats. So it was like, it
It's
was not any kind of.
freaking PETA. Oh, you're bad if you interact with animals, if you ride them or hold them, or get off your freaking high horses and start traveling. Experience the poverty, experience the need these humans themselves have to survive. And then understand that when they keep these animals, they care for them. They don't end up on some stupid little grill down the road. And if you don't believe me, put on your hiking pants and boots and go travel. Don't
Get
just
the
sit
backpack.
there. Yeah, get the backpack and go and see.
Okay. Well,
Next chapter.
this is our sharing with you about our Bangkok experience. In the next episode, we want to talk to you about this really cool resort that we're at now that is on the River Kwai. As Anita said, we're staying in like little huts. It's super cute. We're going to show you all about it. We met some stray dogs. We explored a cave. It's going
Always
to be a
worth the
lot of
dog,
fun.
though.
And we're also still continuing our
Journey,
travel
yeah.
through Thailand. So we're going to take you all the way up north. We're going to go to elephant sanctuaries. We're going to show you all kinds of.
Don't give me anything
We're
about the
gonna-
animal. I don't want to hear anything about the animal sanctuaries. There are elephant sanctuaries.
These
They've been
elephants have
saved.
actually been in these
They've been
families for like
A lot of them
centuries.
came from zoos, from circuses. They need to be cared for because otherwise they're going to be exploited. They're going to be end up in the ivory trade. So yes, sometimes humans need to keep animals in captivity for their own freaking safety. And that is how they survive. And that's how they can even bring species that are on the brink of extinction, bring them back. And because China is just across the border, and they do ivory, they do rhino horn, they do tiger teeth. We just heard that they even make tea out of their penises. So if you're not going to keep them in an enclosed space, not necessarily small, but in some kind of compound and have people looking after them, caring for them, evil people will come and take advantage of them until they become extinct. And that happened to the white rhino in South Africa, where I am from. They were hunted to, I think at this point, there are like 4 left, to the brink of extinction for rhino horn. And if it wasn't for all the rehabilitative efforts of the South African people who are now keeping them, like there's like, if you try and hunt the right rhino, it's the death penalty. That's the point where it had to get to. Now you want to say, well, just release them back in the wild. They'll be gone in 2 days and nothing will be left. So we have to sometimes keep these animals in captivity for their own safety. And unfortunately, unless you can change human nature, that's just the way it's going to be. Has to be for the species to survive.
Yes.
And it's sad, but don't go after the people who are keeping the animals. Go after the ones who are killing them and destroying them and eating them and deforesting their natural habitat. That's the people you should be angry at.
Yes.
Yes.
So how would you like to close this out now?
So now
Watch
you can have
us
hopefully
in the
lots of
future.
pictures of it.
Yes. So yes, please watch our next episode. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we will see you.
Well, and this is
then.
hopefully not live because you're going to edit it and
Take
just like
care.
bits and pieces with lots of pictures and mostly not show us because I have rum eyes because I had a few drinks already.
I'm definitely putting that in there.
Okay.
Okay.
Good night.
Take care. We'll see you next time.
Lots of my opinions and some heavy editing.